Alright, LB7 Duramax. Obviously, videos in the past from me, my injectors, you know, I have that hazing at idle. Been trying different things and decided to do this. Tough to get some things on cleaners, so saw a lot of recommendations out there to try this. So I have Marvel Mixture Oil hooked right up to my truck, return line and the intake line, and it is strictly running. I don't know if it'll show, it had some bubbles in it earlier. Not really showing, but I am trying it, and you can hear a ticking, and I think that's one of the injectors. So I'm just gonna let this sit here and run until that's empty. I can only get the Marvel Mixture Oil in gallons, but I figure I'm gonna try a gallon of this stuff and just let it sit here and idle and see what happens. And if it works, takes away the problem, gets rid of that tick, I saved a bunch of money. If not, we'll run it a little while longer, but I think this thing, if this doesn't work, is gonna be on its way to injectors. So we're gonna see what happens. So right now we're at a little over a minute. You can see where the level is of Marvel Mixture Oil. We're gonna check back in on this and just let it run and see what happens. All right, this thing is running about an hour. So it took about, I think it's about halfway right now. I still hear the tick. It may be a little quieter. I'm gonna go in there and show you the balance rates at the moment. But just other than that one tick, if we look at the balance rates, it may be number 5 injector. But I do think it's a little smoother, but that could be the placebo effect. So let's take a look at balance rates. Well, let's see here. I got the light on the camera, so you can see the balance rates. Now to me, and I'm learning with this Duramax, number 5 right now, it was over 3. It did drop to 2.8, as you can see right there, 2.9. It was a little lower than that. The rest of them have dramatically changed. Number 7 and number 8 were notorious for being around the same as where number 5 is now. And I'm just wondering if that's the one that's the problem child right now. But I'm not going to condemn this yet. Now after doing this, I more than likely will like run it a day and then change the oil in it. I will check the oil in it. The oil has been holding level, but I'm gonna, just for precaution, I guess their number 5 just went to 3. So, but yeah, I don't know what to think here. It obviously isn't hurting anything doing this. If we come down to the dash here, you can see it's just sitting there about 600 RPM, 650. There you can see my miles, 252,955. I have put about 2,000 miles on it now. Temperature's holding appropriate. There's oil pressure's at like 20 to 25, and our volts are good, which really doesn't matter. But as you can see, get the glare out of it. Let's back out of this, and we will look at, like I said, so the fuel rate, which could be off with using Marvel Mixture Oil. So I'm not sure on that, which it seems pretty high. There's your fuel rail pressure, fuel temperature, which I don't think is crazy even compared to when it was running on there. I'd appreciate if somebody watches this video, and by the way, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. A lot of viewers out there and you're not subscribing. So mass airflow sensor, and there's that same, I think this is metered injected fuel rate, or main injection fuel rate, I think is what that is, which that number is very high. Usually it's running around 1 to 2 at idle like this. And then obviously there's intake air temperature. So, you know, other than that, I'm not sure on the map reading. I researched it a little bit. I think that's awful high for map pressure, but I'm used to a gas engine in this case here. So I'm still learning with the normals of this thing, which is part of the fun of owning one. So let's go back here. We're gonna go to home, we'll do diagnostics, we'll just double check if there's any hidden trouble codes, and there is not. Go back here, we'll go back to fuel rates, injector balance rate. And there it even tells you, they're looking, let me pull the camera away even so I can see it. Okay, cold start, up idle balance rate should be below plus or minus 4 inches, park neutral, and plus or minus 6 in drive. Continue, let it do its thing. And there we are. So number 5 has dropped back a little bit. So let's go back out and check how much marble mixture oil we have left. Alright, here we are. Took a little more since we went inside the cab. I'm still hearing that tick, which I think is the number 5 injector. Don't be afraid to say anything in the comments down below. I am not a professional diesel mechanic. I am a DIY mechanic. And I like trying to adventure on anything, and I want to maximize everything possible I can before maximum cost, because if I do the injectors in this thing, I will, hopefully, I'm not sure yet, still weighing it out if I have to do it, but I probably will put brand new injectors in, and I will research a little more before I do it. But I figured try this first. Unfortunately, that gallon of marble mixture oil was about $28, $30, but it's a lot better than $3,000 doing all the injectors and all the other costs that go with it. So we're going to let this run here probably, I'm guessing, another half hour, and we'll see what happens. Alright, we shut it off because it started raining like crazy and needed to bring it inside. I used about 3/4 of that. It sat here and ran for a good hour and 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up the fuel lines. That's self-explanatory. That's why I didn't show this. I'm going to... Balance rates didn't change from the last part of it in this, same video, just different timing here instead of you watching it. What I'm going to do, I'll hook everything back up, go back to diesel off the tank, and going to take, and I'll run it on the tank fuel, and then take it for a ride. Now, I did just put diesel in it. I put some, just a normal dose of anti-gel, and I put 2 quarts of 2-cycle oil in it. So it may smoke regardless here for this tank of fuel, but I figure for the extra lubricity, it'll be worth it. So this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put this all back together the way it should be, and then we'll fire it up and then take it for a ride as well. All right, we got everything hooked back up, and we're on diesel. I primed it, got good pressure over at the fuel filter, and now we're going to start the truck back up and see how it is on with balance rates and everything else, and then take it for a ride. All right, here we go. Just let it sit and idle for a little bit. Apologize for the camera, but for being it's dark out. Let that load. Glare out of it. Number 5, I think, is the problem child. All the rest of them look pretty good. I'm still at normal operating temperature. I'm gonna run it for a while like this, but let's just take it for a ride right now and see how it is. Alright, so here we are. We're gonna take it for a ride, but balance rates aren't they won't show up obviously when it's idling. Boy, it's just a shame if it's just number 5. If number 5 could bounce back, and there it just did. With it being dark out, it does make it hard to make this video. My apologies to that, but this thing, the one thing I will say there about with a diesel engine, to run 2 hours on 3/4 of a gallon, that's impressive in my opinion. I never did it with a gas engine to find out if it could do that. Now granted, there was no labor on this whatsoever or working, but it is very interesting. But anyway, right now, as we can see, the injector balance rate for number 5 has just dramatically come back. So let's take this thing for a ride. We'll see what happens. All right, took it for a test run here, about a 10-minute ride. Let's see what our balance rates are. There, as you can see, there is an improvement. I think the throttle response was a lot better. It's a lot smoother. Let's see what happens if I put it in drive. I mean, those are all good numbers. So let's go with our main injection rate to see what that's at. And we're running at 2. When I first got this truck, that was higher. So now you're banging, there's 3, 4. So that's a little higher. But I do have, like I said, I have regular diesel fuel, highway fuel, and then I put also some, I can't remember the name of it, but it's 2-cycle oil. I put 2 quarts of that into a full tank of fuel, about 25 gallons, and then a normal dose of, because it does get cold in our area right now, very warm, normal dose of, yeah, can't think of the name of it. Anti-gel. Skips me how the mind plays. So anyway, let's go take a look at the tailpipe. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. There you can see it. It's still smoking, but like I said, it could be a remainder of the Marvel mixture oil plus the concoction I have in it. So I'm gonna run this tank and see what happens and go from there. But if it continues like this, more than likely I will do injectors in it. Because I know I read some forums and stuff, and another guy had the same problem. You know, same fuel rates as I do, same balance rates, and it continued to do this, where you can see it a lot. So, but I'm gonna run this tank of fuel out of it because of what I have in it, and then gonna go from there. I probably will change the oil too, just for a precaution, because of what I've been running in it. So, this about it for this video. So thanks for watching. This is GMEC. We'll see you in the next one, and remember, keep on wrenching.